And he's got an Oscar cousin. Whoa. 100 years of Mr. Man, Australia. Episode 12. Mr. Fussy. Mr. Fussy was fussy about everything. Absolutely everything had to be neat and tidy and in its proper place. Mr. Fussy spent all day and every day rearranging his furniture and making sure that the flowers grew in a straight line in his garden, and trying to find specks of dust so there couldn't possibly be specks of dust, because he spent all his time making sure that there weren't any specks of dust. One fine morning, Mr. Fussy was having breakfast. He was very fussy about what he ate. He opened the jam pot. "Ugh," he exclaimed. "It's got bits in it." And he spent most of the morning separating the bits from the marmalade. Oh, if you would like to have the jam from the bits. Fussy old fusspot, people used to call him. See what I mean? Then Mr. Fussy went in his garden and spent the rest of the day straightening out all the blades of grass on his lawn. Fussy old fusspot. That evening, Mr. Fussy was in his kitchen, ironing his shoelaces, when he heard a crash outside. "What's to do?" he murmured to himself, and hurried outside to have a look. There, with a broken garden gate in one hand and an old, battered suitcase in the other, and a sheepish grin on his face, stood an untidy person. Mr. Clumsy. "What?" he said, holding up the garden gate. "It came off in my hand." "Oh, it's you again, Mr. Clumsy," said Mr. Fussy. "I might have known you'd visit me." "Yeah, it's nice to see you again," said Mr. Clumsy, and stepped forward to shake Mr. Fussy's hand after he put the gate down, but tripped over and fell on the lawn. "My grass!" cried Mr. Fussy. "My straight grass! You've bent it." But he got down on his hands and knees and started straightening the grass. "What are you visiting me for?" "Oh, well, I'm just here for a few days, that's all," said Mr. Crumbsy. Sorry about the grass. Well, aren't you pleased to see me? He asked, just picking himself up and the suitcase, trying not to knock down the floor. Mr. Fussy quite obviously wasn't pleased to see him. You'd better come in, he muttered. I say, remarked Mr. Crumbsy, looking through the front door of his house. I say, what a neat little place you got here. And he stepped inside, tripping over his shoelaces. He often does. Knocked over a chair, dropped his suitcase and fell in an untidy heap on the floor. Whoops, he said. Mr. Fussy shut his eyes, heaved a sigh, and groaned silently to himself. Later that evening, after Mr. Fussy had cooked them a meal, and after Mr. Crumbsy had helped with the washing up 2 broken plates, they sat down to talk. Mr. Fussy said, as he always did, in a neat and tidy fashion. Mr. Crumbsy said, as he always did, in an unneat and tidy fashion. You said just a few days you're staying here, didn't you? Asked Mr. Fussy. Oh, yes. That's what I might have. Some weeks. I might show you where I went. I visited China. Mr. Fussy had a look at where he went. For most weekends, he found it interesting, and they went to bed. When he woke in the morning, he got out of bed and went to his bathroom. Oh no, he gasped. Oh no! Oh yes, Mr. Crumbsy had been there first before him. The towels lay in a heap on the floor. The bath was full of water. There were pools of it all over the bathroom floor. And half a tube of toothpaste had been squeezed out onto the mirror. What a mess! Mr. Fussy made it all neat and tidy as quickly as he could. Then he hurried downstairs. Morning, said his cousin cheerfully. I've cooked your breakfast. Sit down. There was an awful mess everywhere. There we are. Breakfast, said Mr. Crumbsy, carrying a plate of fried eggs. Broken fried eggs toward the table. And then he tripped over those shoelaces, and the eggs flew through the air, and they landed all over Mr. Fussy. Sticky, greasy, yellow fried eggs. Whoops, said Mr. Crumbsy. After a week, Mr. Fussy's house didn't look like his house at all. Don't you agree? But after 2 weeks, Mr. Crumbsy decided to move on. Well, thanks for having me, he said to Mr. Fussy. It was very nice to see you, said Mr. Fussy politely. What he was thinking was not so polite. It's very nice to see you going, was what he was thinking. But cheerio, said Mr. Crumbsy. Off he went with his battered old suitcase. Goodbye, said Mr. Fussy, really meaning good riddance. Then Mr. Fussy fussed round his house as he'd never fussed before. Fussy, old Fusspot. That evening, Mr. Fusser was in his kitchen, polishing an egg, when he heard a crash outside. "Oh no!" he groaned. "Oh no, not Mr. Clumsy back again. It can't be. Mustn't be. It isn't." And it wasn't. It was somebody else, or some pony else. Some pony who just came flashing and knocked Mr. Fuss's garden gate by mistake. Some pony who liked things being studied. Some pony you've seen lots of times. "Hello," said Twilight Sparkle. "Sorry about your gate. I just fixed it." "Oh, hello. I'm glad you fixed it. Do come in."